Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. What's good to everybody tuned in already? What's happening, man, if you're catching this later? This is the Question Everything podcast, episode 2, man. Live and direct. I am your host, QuestionATL. Now, let me go ahead and cut these tunes. If you want to drop something in the chat, I also have something that's reading in live chat now aloud. So we got live feedback. If you want to talk shit with me, then feel free to do that, because I'm definitely about to be talking shit for mad long. You know how it goes. Speaking my opinions on things, you know what I'm saying? And definitely going to be getting some expert opinions as well. Giving my expert opinions on this hip hop shit, and then getting some other experts to come on. Like I said, having some other people scheduled real soon in the future. And also, if you know somebody who might be an expert in their field as far as the profession that they're in, then let me know, because I'm always open to figuring out other guests that we might be able to have on the platform. So yeah, with that being said, Happy New Year. This is the first episode that we're doing in 2025.
DJ
Shit is
TK
crazy.
Music. I could vibe to this beat all day.
TK in the building. Happy New Year to you, TK. I hope you're doing good, man. Also, I gotta actually go ahead and shout out the entire BNF gang, man, right now, because we just dropped a tape and TK actually got a placement on there. So I gotta get, you know what I'm saying, get that in. Make sure you go subscribe to the Blind and Famous YouTube channel. Go run that up. BNF Volume 8 out right now. We just dropped that on Christmas. So y'all make sure y'all go fuck with that for real. That's, if you don't know about Blind and Famous, it's a whole lot of my brothers, man, from here in the country and then in the UK and Canada as well. And we're all blind. We all write, produce, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, just a display of us putting out our music, a whole lot of shit that we've been working on over the past year. That's over on the Blind and Famous YouTube channel. But yeah, 2024, like I said in the last episode, was just an insane year for music as far as hip hop goes. So, you know, we got a hella music, the Future projects, the Future Metro projects, the Eminem project, which I did like a whole review for that shit. And I didn't end up posting it. So I'm gonna just give sort of an overview of my thoughts on the death of Slim Shady while we here too. And then right at the end of the year, we got the Juice WRLD project, and then we just got the Juice Deluxe, which honestly is, in my opinion, like 60% better than the first one. The Juice WRLD Deluxe is crazy. Eminem feature, more Future features, a lot of features on it. Wait, am I lying? It might not be a Future feature on there. I just seen Future on some other shit. That was the Lil Baby project. We got to talk about that shit too, because that shit just dropped in this year. He did something that's real interesting. He waited until 2025 to drop his most recent project. So I think that's kind of wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess he didn't want to be compared to all of the shit that was going on with Drake and Kendrick and Cole. And just, there was a fuck ton of music dropped last year. So I guess he's trying to set himself apart from that, from dropping in this early part of this year. So I guess the first thing we're going to do, I'll go ahead and bring the Lil Baby record up, because that one, I don't have like too much to say about it, but I do want to run through it. And like I did last time, point out a couple of songs that I really felt like were crazy, because I'm going to say this. As far as production value on that record is crazy. Like, he's doing a lot for the city as far as pushing the sound forward with different beats, different types of
DJ TK
styles.
Music. People saying Baby fell off. I just think he in his own lane TBH.
People saying Baby fell off. Yeah, honestly, I mean, if you look at the wave that he had when he was first on the scene with the freestyle and My Dog, and the Future run that he was on with Gunna for a couple of years, like, honestly, there is a conversation about Baby not really being at the same place that he was at when he first came out. But at the same time, he has found a lane. He's found a sound that has kind of been working for him consistently for the past couple of years. So, I mean, he's getting his money, he's in his bag, but I can't say he's at the same place he was. There's also a conversation right now about, ever since Baby stopped really fucking with Gunna, his sound ain't really been the same. So a lot of people have been saying Gunna might actually have been ghostwriting and doing some work behind the scenes for Baby, which I could see that being the case. I'm not certain. You know, I don't have any proof. I haven't heard reference tracks, but there's a lot of flows that they had for a time that were real similar. Gunna was kind of setting that wave. And there's even some interviews where Baby says people like Gunna were helping him write some of the first songs he was doing. But when he first got out the streets and into rap, he was saying he had people like Gunna on his side writing shit for him. So I don't know if that's to say he wrote shit like Drip Too Hard and wrote My Dog and wrote these major hits that were first coming out of that camp, but you know, it begs the question. So I'm gonna just bring up the new Baby record. I'm looking at this in my ears, by the way. You know, since we on YouTube, you know how the YouTube mafia is. I can't stream the records here. I'm trying to figure out a good solution for that because I do want to find somewhere where I could just vibe with y'all and just, you know what I'm saying, spin the latest music. We can share tunes and shit, but YouTube is not that place, man. This is not really friendly for the artist all the time. YouTube got to get better about that. They got to work some type of deal out with podcasters or with something to where people could just play tunes, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not, we're not trying to take no money out of Baby pocket by listening to the music and vibing to the music on the stream. So they got to figure out a way to get, you know, get a balance between that. But I'm just talking my shit from an artist perspective, you know. So the latest one is Wham. Apparently he's supposed to have another album coming behind this release called Dominique. There was an interview he did on Yachty podcast, A Safe Place, which I thought that podcast was fucking done. I had no idea that pod was gonna come back. So shouts to Yachty, you know what I'm saying? Consistency is key. I ain't even trying to hate. I ain't talking no shit. I'm just saying after everything that was going down through last year with the shit with Mitch, you have no idea how shit gonna turn out. So, you know, so it's good to see Yachty coming back, bringing shit back, you know what I'm saying, keeping it moving. But Yachty was talking to Baby, and Baby says there's supposed to be another album called Dominique that may drop after this one. I've also heard people say on social media that might just be a cop-out, like people saying that if folks don't like this Wham album the right way, then that gives Baby another chance to kind of drop something else and see how people feel. But I don't know. We'll see if both of them come out, then maybe that'll prove people wrong. If that album doesn't come out, then maybe that actually ends up being a real theory. But Wham, we'll just start with the intro. Listen up. I think the one thing you gotta say, like I said about this album off rip, is production value. It starts with these crazy strings, just like a crazy ass intro vibe, not even any vocals at first. Just kind of setting the tone, letting you know it's kind of an intro song. And then Baby just talking this shit, really ain't even no drums here. He just vibing over this, kind of letting you know the tone of the album. You know, for y'all little rappers, he's saying a little bit of shit, talking a little bit more conscious shit on this album. Baby has been starting to go into a little bit more of a conscious direction. A lot more pain on this album, a lot more truth on this album. You know, he's kind of trying to go into more of a personal bag. And I think that's what he was saying. Even the Dominique album might be more full toward like a lot more pain, a lot more internal struggle from an artist's perspective. Because he was saying, you know, for a while, a lot of folks might not think he had that versatility or that capability as an artist. You know, that's another thing he spoke on in the Yachty interview, was saying he didn't really think people feel like he could deliver that type of an energy on an album. So I think he's trying to prove people wrong with that. And then you see, this is an album that's meant for the streets. Like right out the gate, you see crazy features on this album. You got Dumb Dumb and Dumber, him, Thug, and Future. So it's a crazy Atlanta record. Thug on this record talking crazy shit. Like you can tell he recorded this right after he came home. Weezy on the production, so you always love to see that. And then another one of the craziest beats I actually liked on this record was FU 2 Times. Right after this. So it's like out the gate, this record is strong, high energy. You know, it's a lot of trap records, a lot of shit you can play in the club, a lot of shit you can move around to. Off rip. And then you get I Promise. I Promise is a little bit more calm, you know what I'm saying? Bit of a mellow vibe. Low key, the drums on this beat is kind of weird to me. The 808s cut at like a different spot kind of throughout the verse and the hook, and shit just kind of keeps switching up as it moves around. But I like the guitars in this beat. I like Baby, you know what I'm saying? He's speaking his real shit on this one. But to be honest, this is where I start to feel what people saying about like Baby been using this same type of flow for the past 2 years. Like this is kind of the recycled method. This is kind of that that pocket that he's been in doing features. He kind of goes for this flow. I don't know. This just don't really feel like a hit to me. This cadence doesn't really feel like, something to go for. But then this next one is actually going crazy. He got Glorilla on this shit. Glorilla, Redbone. And Lee Boy actually did this beat. Lee Boy is crazy to see him on a Lil Baby album because he used to be like making a lot of type beats on YouTube. So shouts out to Lee Boy, Lil Baby placement. I know he been working for a long time for that shit, so that's dope as hell to see. And to be real, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm not the biggest Glorilla fan, but this shit just got hit. Like, it's got hit potential. Baby talking his shit on here. Glorilla low-key talking her shit too. So it's got that club potential. This is one you can play in a set, you know what I'm saying, run back a couple times and the crowd is gonna fuck with it. A lot of people probably end up knowing the words on this one, posting this shit up. I wanna see how this shit aged though. Like, I wanna see if this one ends up having legs and taking off. Cause it looks like it's supposed to be one of those ones. Especially with Glow being one of the bigger artists right now. You know, her and Baby getting on this one. That looks like it's supposed to do good numbers. This next record by myself, low key, this record feels a little bit disjointed. It's him, Rallo Rodriguez, and Rod Wave, and everybody talking their shit on this record. It's a crazy pain record, but the thing that I'm noticing, there's not really a true hook. Like, I feel like everybody just got on this shit, vented their pain, and then they kind of just found a part they could loop and make into a hook. Everybody swagging on this shit. It's cool, it's vibes, but this doesn't feel like the most consistent record. This next one, Due for a Win. This shit here is probably one of my favorite ones off of the album. Due for a Win, this shit, it's just another one of the high energy, crazy drums on this record. The 808 switch up a little bit on this record too. So I fuck with the way this one moves. Honestly, we've been in the trend lately of like hella tunes on albums too. Like, it's been like, for a while you was seeing like all these projects that had like maybe 10 to 12 records on it. And now in the past year, you done seen projects that have 23 songs, 35 songs in some cases. Like motherfucking Chris Brown, he put out a record with like 47 songs at one point. So I think it's Fido. You know, the more music, the better for me, because you got more shit to pick through. Even if anything don't stick to you, you got records off that album that you can put in the playlist and come back to. So, you know, put it out. Put that music out in the world. Let people see how they feel about it. Stiff Gang's another one with the crazy beat switches on this one. The flow on this one's dope. One of Baby's kind of typical flows, but it works dope as fuck on this one. The drums are kind of going back and forth for a few different rhythms. Snares going wild. So Sorry, one of those calm records. This kind of feels like one of those records that people might have said Gunna would have wrote for Baby. So this is kind of the answer to like, if y'all thought Baby couldn't make these type of drip too hardish, slower, mellow records without Gunna, you still got a couple of these on the record. So Sorry, I would say, is a perfect example of that. So, you know, I'm still curious to see like how much of the records Gunna was writing for him when he first came out, but you know, I don't think Gunna write anything for him right now. Even though they say he just told the judge he want to get back to working with Gunna. So we're gonna see what the year holds for both of them. See where shit ends up. You never know how the industry goes. You got the entrance from Travis Scott. I did not see this shit coming. Honestly, like, you hear his ad libs right at the start of the song. You obviously know who it is as soon as it comes on. This one's called Stuff. I think it's heavy. I think it's dope. You know, Travis is carrying this record, honestly. It seems like it might have been a Travis record at first and Baby hopped on it. Now you get this record, Say Twin. This shit is some real New Atlanta, some real like current trap. This is kind of the answer, in my opinion, to kind of a Boss Man D-Lo type flow. But Baby's kind of trying to reinvent himself on this one. I think it works too. I think the beat's tough. I think Baby's kind of coming with a different flow, finding new ways to get on the beat, keeping it simple though. It's another club movie, you know what I'm saying? Another one to dance around, get shit moving. Same thing with Free Promo. You know, this whole section of the album, you kind of getting back to some hyper energy. I'll say the order of this album is paced out real well. They try to put everything in a lot of similar places. So you have some calm pockets, you got some real hype pockets. You know, the album kind of goes up and down in a way that makes a lot of sonic sense. Everything is connected in a nice way. This next one, Outfit with 21. I think this is another one of the hardest records on the album. 21 went crazy on this record. Baby ate on this shit too, but honestly, I think 21 had the hardest verse on this shit. Y'all can tell me how you feel in the comments, but for me, yeah, 21 killed this shit. Low key, this next record, Drugs Talking, I'm actually previewing these records like live. If I'm pausing in real time, it's just because I want to hear these shits to make sure I'm kind of getting the same feel that I had when I heard it the first time. So I'm just kind of going back, looking at everything. So this one right here, Drugs Talking, is honestly probably one of my favorite records on the album, just because of the you know, Baby really venting on this record, and then the production on this shit is hella crazy. I like the horns in this record. It's hella mellow, different 808s in this shit. The hi-hat's going crazy. It's kind of on that glow sound, like some Chief Keef type shit. It's not really there, but it remind me of that. Streets Colder is another one of those venting records, another one of those pain records we talk about, where, you know, Baby's getting a little bit more personal, kind of trying to let people in. I think this shit came across nice. This is one of the records that really hit. I think this shit is another one that might do real well off the album. Real dark, mellow beat. Still up-tempo, though. So for real, like, this whole album is paced in a nice way. You get a lot of street shit. You still get a whole lot of calm shit. You know what I'm saying? You get high energy. The album's Atlanta all the way through. Like, you know, you got Thug on here. You got Future on here. Travis Scott. It's crazy because Travis not really from Atlanta, but we claim him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in Atlanta kind of rock with Travis. So you see him pop up on a lot of projects. He was on Metro Project. He on a lot of Cardi shit. So yeah, this shit is Atlanta through and through. I'm curious to see if we do end up getting that other album, like I said. But right now, the way it looks, I mean, I'm not gonna talk numbers because I'm not the person to try to give them type of predictions, but it seemed like people gonna fuck with the album. It seemed like people feeling this shit. So we just gotta see, you know, where we at in 6 months. Where does this album sit at the end of the year? Does anybody remember this when we talk album of the year? Come December, are we talking about this? Are we talking about Dominique? Are we talking about some other singles that he has? But I think, you know, it could be a dope ass year for Lil Baby. A lot of people paying attention to him right now. A lot of people are kind of trying to see what's gonna happen with him since Thug's back home. You know, they want to see what's gonna happen with him and Gunna. It almost seemed like that shit might be beef, you know, between him, Gunna and Thug. It seemed like there might be some problems, but you know, everything seemed kind of calm right now. Thug seemed to be trying to play shit as calm as possible, which I think is the smartest fucking move. So I'm not the type person that's trying to drum none of that shit up. I'm just saying you never know where shit might go by the end of the year. Shit, honestly, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the Juice World album because that's kind of close to the same vibes. I want to stay sort of in the trap world. And to be real, I'm glad that I waited to do this album with the deluxe because the first version of this album that we got, I think it was low key, it was slim, it was light. It was like I felt like they held back on us. They held out. And I don't know if they did that on purpose to try to to prepare people for the deluxe. Um but the deluxe definitely made up for it. I can say that. So I'm gonna just bring this up real quick. The Party Never Ends 2.0. So, as a Juice fan, this album has been so anticipated for years, 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 years. Like this shit, we thought we might get even before we lost Juice. There was like some trailers, I think, on a Travis Scott record. Is the first time we might have heard this on streaming. But there's leaks on this album. The dopest thing I think they did with this album is they gave us some of the leaks that were like the most popular on YouTube. They really listened to the fans and they really gave a lot of moments that the fans knew from Juice. So just going right into it, man. The first one, The Party Never Ends. Really, it's just straight up intro vibes. Like with the album, they do a lot of they kind of lead you like you're at a concert. The whole time you're at the whole time the album plays, it's like you're just at a Juice concert and like he's speaking to you and hyping you up and just performing all the songs to you. So that first intro is just kind of getting you into that type of shit. He speaks, and then it goes right into the first jam. It's kind of rockstar bassline vibes. Like he's freestyling classic Juice lyrics, like he's talking about, dealing with his drug use, dealing with stress and dealing with depression. And then some crazy drums come in. It's already melodic. And he's saying, relax, let the party start. So it's just kind of giving you the tone of the album. Like, just kick back, get into this shit. You hear kind of some like guitars in the back, some crazy vocals, some distortion. Just really letting you know the vibe of the album, like really putting you into that rock star, emo rage, classic Juice vibe. Whole lot of sick sound design on this intro. Honestly, one of my favorite intros that we got on the album in a while. Then we go into Misfit. Now, if I remember right, this might have been a leak before. I'm not sure, but I feel like I might have seen this song somewhere, like either in an unreleased folder or on YouTube or something. I could be wrong, but this feels like one of those to me. And then we get this jam with Nicki, Juice WRLD and Nicki Minaj, Insecure 2. This shit is crazy. I really did not expect Nicki to sound as dope on this as she did, but this shit really works. This is a crazy collab. I don't know if this was done though, like while Juice was here. I think this might have been a post collab, a posthumous collab. I could be wrong, but that's what this kind of seems like to me. It's just because like there's a couple of parts where Nicki comes in and finishes some of the phrases, and then kind of hops in more as a feature. And it just seems like it might be something that Juice might have left or that they let her jump in and finish. It works well though. This one, Lace It with Eminem, produced by Benny Blanco. I don't think this was on the first album. I think this is one that we got on 2.0. I'm pretty sure I would have remembered if we seen the Eminem feature on the first album. This shit is crazy. Another one I think that was done posthumously, but M kills this record. Obviously, Juice kills this. Juice is really venting a lot about his addiction, his pain, his battle with drugs on this record, just kind of telling you, this is what he's dealing with, this where he's at, this is how he's feeling, this is how he's going through it. And M comes behind him and is kind of saying this is what it's been like to deal with this as an artist for multiple generations, and seeing people like Juice lost to this shit. It actually points out a lot of people, blaming these prescription pills for taking people like Juice from us, and name drops a lot of different artists and different people in his verse. So M is kind of taking some accountability, some understanding for his own place in that, his own role in that. So this one is a heavy record, real relatable, very well received. We in the cuffed. This one also feels like a leak to me. This feels like one of those ones from the early Juice World era. Let me look at this real quick because this sounds real Nick Mira vibes to me. I just want to see on the credits if this is actually Nick Mira produced. Yeah, Nicholas Mira right there in the production credits. You can just tell some of these beats, some of these Juice beats have such a signature sound. Shout out to Nick Mira, man. That's always the goal when you make beats, when you do shit with your sound, when you do anything as an artist. It's dope to have a tag. It's dope to be able to be recognized by your look, by your producer tag or whatever. But if you have a sound that's just signaturely yours, that's just uniquely your own sound, that's exclusive to you, that's one of the dopest things as an artist and as a producer, where somebody hear your shit and for 2 seconds after that they can just tell immediately, yeah, that's him, that's you. That's when you really know you got somewhere in the industry. I think that shit is dope as hell. That's a goal of mine for sure. Empty Out Your Pockets. This is, I think, one of the songs they led with for the album. One of the first ones I heard from the album anyway. One that I fuck with for sure. This to me really feels like a record they might have ended up getting Tekka on. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like an alternate version of this with Tekka somewhere. Also feels like a Mirror produced record. This this next one, KTM Drip, was another one of my favorite ones off the project. Juice talking this shit a lot on this one. Love Letter was another one. I'm not sure if that shit was released before anywhere, but that shit is hard. I ain't never heard that shit before this project. I really fuck with that one. Cause it's crazy. Like half of this project, I feel like I heard before, either on SoundCloud or like YouTube or a Periscope stream. Like Juice used to leak some of his own music, so much, just recording and showing the fans shit. So it's dope now to try to see which songs you can track down on streaming, and which ones you can actually playlist and try to get a hold of. It's all just these rare grails of music that we love from Juice. And it's unfortunate that he's not here to give us more of those. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace forever, because he's one of the illest, greatest artists of our generation. So, we always look for his music that way. Next, we got Condone It. I'm like low key listening to these jams again because some of them I haven't heard since I played the album the first time. You know how it is. Play that shit one time, man. You get busy. I be in here making albums. Yeah, low key, Condone It, he just kind of fucking around, just freestyling, you know what I'm saying? Talking his shit, showing off his skill, you know what I mean? Juice has a lot of songs where he's just having fun. Um, just rapping for rapping's sake, man. Just showing the fact that he can rap and really do this shit in different ways, hella metaphors, hella different ways of putting shit. And some of those songs are the best because he's just having fun, showing off his wordplay. And then we get Goodbye from the Kid Leroy. I don't know why they didn't put this at the end of the album. It's a real tough song. Really, it's as you might expect, Leroy's sort of perspective on losing Juice and how he's been feeling about sitting without him and not really being able to cope with it the same way. I was kind of surprised to see this on the Juice World album. I guess I don't know where else they would have put it. Like I know they probably want a lot of people to see it. They probably want all the Juice World fans to, it's being in the game, man. It's hard not to say this, but it's like that's a marketing, that's a ploy, man. That's everybody. That's them trying to push all the Juice World fans to Leroy, because why are y'all putting it on his project as opposed to just dropping Leroy's own single or putting that on one of his own projects? But it's because they want all the Juice World fans to see it, and they trying to be like, yeah, this is the new guy. Like that shit just looks real political. It looks kind of fucked up to me. And that's not even to take anything away from Leroy. Like Leroy probably has the truest intentions and the purest feeling about making this song, but it just looks weird for it to be on the album that isn't by himself. Let me know if I'm tripping. Y'all can let me know how y'all feel about that, but it's weird to me. So then there's some more jams after this. Party by Myself. I feel like this is another one that wasn't on the first version of the record. And this is another one that's real muted, real calm, mellow. Juice being accountable, talking about his drug use, just kind of going through it, venting. A lot of times a lot of artists will say some of their music is kind of like a diary, and this record feels a little bit like that in a way. It's just kind of Juice being real honest and speaking his truth. And then we get a couple more jams. We get Adore You, Celebrate with Offset. I like this one. Offset did his thing on this. It does feel like this is another posthumous jam. It seems like Juice had, so much music in the talk, so much shit that he could release, and probably still they may be able to release. But they might have just made some room for Offset, or he had some extra room on this one, and Set came through and just filled in and killed it, of course. But and maybe not. It just a lot of times when you see artists collab in real time, you might see both artists shout each other out in the verses, or you might see them have like a conversation in the intro, or you may see they split a verse and they both kind of reference some of the same shit. Like as a rapper, I try to look for these little subtle things to try to tell if this record is real or if it was fake. Like, not even that this record is fake necessarily, but like if it was done in the same studio, or if it was something that they paid for something to be done later, or if this is just something your homeboy did for you. Like, it's just an interesting thing to try to look into as an artist. Next one is Jeffrey. And you can only believe he's talking about Thug when he say Jeffrey. Especially just because of everything going on right now. Like, you can only imagine he's talking about Thug. Next up, we got Barbarian. This one, another one where Juice really just talking his shit, you know what I'm saying? Flexing, having a lot of fun on this one. And then you get a surprising one. This one is featuring Fall Out Boy. It's called Best Friend. I think this might have actually been on the first version of the album. But just to see so many features, with Thug, or no, I don't think it's no shit with Thug on here. With with Nicki, just like crazy different versatile features. I would not actually expect Fall Out Boy to be on this album, but that just shows the versatility of Juice WRLD really, because Juice had that rock star side to him. He had a lot of different kind of flows and different vibes that he liked to get into as far as music is concerned. He went to different bags. He had traditional boom bap flows. He had, more of an emo vibe he might get into. Of course, the melodic rap, or some people may call it mumble rap. I hate that fucking term. I'm gonna just be real. Couple more jams. We got Florid. Another kind of just freestyle in and out jam. Juice kicking back, you know what I'm saying? Juice with some mellow vibes on this one. And then the last two is like hella mellow. You got Oxycontin, you got Spin. Spin is one that him and Zay actually did. And see, this is where you can kind of tell where somebody's working with an artist on location, because you know Zay is the producer on this, Zay Tobin, and you hear Juice in this record a lot of times shouting him out. You know, you're like, you know, me and Zay on the wave. Me and Zay just made some new shit. You know, shout out Zay. So that's the type of situation where you can tell this person was really in the studio with Juice and they actually made that record. So those are the type of things you can look out for as a fan or as an artist. You know, I love seeing that type of shit where you can really tell people is on location, you know, collaborating and working on the record together. But like I said, overall, this album is dope as fuck. If you haven't heard this whole album yet, make sure you go and hear it. The Party Never Ends 2.0. Juice WRLD, man, rest in peace. It's fucking crazy, man. Like, as a freestyle artist myself, I always wanted to be able to say that I would get the chance to freestyle with Juice and to rap and cypher with him. And so, you know, it's real unfortunate that we lost him, and I didn't get that chance. You know, but I'm here. I'm putting on for people. You know, I represent for the culture, and Juice is definitely one of those sick freestyle artists. Like, if you don't know about outside of his music, outside of his studio releases, you got to look on YouTube. Like, he has hours. I'm talking about like 2-hour recordings back to back to back of just freestyling over so many different beats, like from different decades, Mobb Deep beats, XXX beats, you know what I'm saying? Any style. Like, Juice is really one of those guys that can rap off the top of the head endlessly without a phone, without a BlackBerry, without some shit written down. Like, it's not too many people that can do that in a generation. You know, Wayne is one of those. Logic is one of those to a degree. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to show respect to them type of people. It's a certain ilk of freestyler. You know, and Juice is somebody I look up to and somebody I study. So it's just crazy, man, that we don't have him here to give us new music. Like, he really is one of those pillars of creativity in the past 20 years. Like, he's an artist that stands out. You know, you look at Wayne, you look at, you know, people like Thug, you look at T.I., you look at Ye, you know what I'm saying, Jay-Z, X, you know, Uzi. And Juice is really one of those top guys, especially just because of his talent, his freestyle, his skills, but his popularity too. Like, look at his fan base, look at his streams. You can tell he was just loved by the whole world. So I'm about to crazy switch gears right now. Still in hip hop, but we going to the traditional side of things. I'm finna bring up this Muddy Waters too. The new acclaimed Redman project. Everybody who's heard this project has had nothing but good things to say so far, including myself. Actually, before we go into this album, there is one other hip hop single that I want to shout out, because I was just playing that shit because I heard it a couple weeks ago, but I just wanted to get in a certain mood before I jumped on. So I was just playing this shit before I got on here. It's called Gunsmoke, from Snoop's new album featuring 50 and M. So Snoop, 50, and M all on a record together. And it's crazy as fuck. It sounds like Dr. Dre. It's what you would think Dre would be giving you back in a 08 time, back in a 2010 time. But it's current as fuck. It's up to date. New flows, new sounds. The instrumentation is wild. But the one thing I gotta say, I have to address this. Like, I'm not sure that 50 and Snoop are writing their flows. I feel like M might be writing his verses still, but the verses that I heard from Snoop and Fifth, I don't know if they both wrote those. It just seems hella current. It seems more current than a lot of shit I've heard either of them doing recently. And I know Dre has a lot of dope writers in his camp. You know what I'm saying? Shout to Focus. Shout to all the guys over there have done crazy things with Dre over the past, you know, few years, through the Compton era, you know, about 10 years ago, all the way through the Detox era. You know, Dre has had an amazing amount of producers that go crazy and that he sort of leads and has always been at the helm of. But, you know, we got to give them guys their credit. This is the era of the ghostwriter, the era of the ghost producer getting they shine. You know, this is the information age and everybody want to know who's who. So I'm just curious. Let me actually see if we can see writers. I don't know if they're going to show us any extra writers on this track, on this official release, but I'm going to look it up. Snoop Gunsmoke. Because I just want to see if they letting anybody know Guns and Smoke. Guns and Smoke is the official name of the record. But it's taken after a lyric from B.I.G. that I just want the paper. Gun smoke, gun smoke. So they got that in there. But it's crazy because it almost sounds like an AI or something. It don't quite sound like Biggie's voice when you hear the record. Let me look at the credits real quick. B. Perry, C. Jackson. Yeah, there's a whole lot of there's a fuck ton of writers on this record. So like you see Fifth's name on here, you see M's name on here, you see Dre's name on here as a writer, but that's probably because Dre is credited as a producer. All the producers are also credited as writers. So it's hard to really tell who's who, but I would not be surprised if they didn't have some ghostwriters on this song. It looks like it might have been ghost written, if we being real. But yeah, let me bring up this Redman album, Muddy Waters 2. Much love to Reggie Nobles. Fucking Reaper Project, man. Muddy Waters 2. Hold on. I'm trying to make sure we don't got the clean version on deck. Yeah, see, I just almost fucked up and brought up the clean version. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. We gotta rock out the right way. All right, word. So the first one is The Fuck Going On. And honestly, like this whole album starts the way that it finishes. This shit sounds like a classic cookout. This is the best way I could describe this album is a classic hip hop cookout. Redman is here with the skill. He's here to keep the tradition alive. 2025. I think this just came out at the end of last year, but he's kind of letting people know hip hop is well alive, well established, and not going nowhere for the year of 2025. Whole lot of weed bars. I do what I want on the regular. I get bread, get head, etc., etc. So he's just talking mad shit. And the beat kind of sound like some Zapp and Roger type shit. Like I swear, it's real funky. The whole album has a nice element of funk. Rockwilder's still with him on this album. He shots Rockwilder out a lot all over the project. And then he keeps this same kind of heavy energy going on the next track. It's called What's Hot, featuring Orange Juice Jones. Now, I wasn't hip to Orange Juice Jones too much before this project, but I've heard that name before. So this is my first time really hearing a lot of records featuring Orange Juice Jones, but I like what I'm hearing. I think this is dope. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but like every song on this track is loaded with hella bars. I'm saying top tier bars. Like Redman is in rare form, making sure people know he's healthy, he's feeling good, he's confident, he's here to talk his shit. Like Quincy Jones, my music is timeless, R.I.P. Quincy. Everything he's saying is real current. His brain is sharp. Then he's here to let niggas know he's actually still rapping. Next record is called Jersey. This is a real feel good record, a real like it kind of it sounds like some dance floor type shit, honestly. Like this is just something you play in the background, some real cookout, family reunion Still bars though. All of these records have real grandpa, old man energy, but he's barring up over all of them. So as a hip hop head, I can't even hate. I fuck with the shit still. And it still has a nice low end. Like I can't trip. Like there's still, some dope 808s, some dope drums in here, but this also feels like some shit you could play kicking back with Birth in them. You know what I'm saying? Redman bringing back the skits. He's got a skit on here called Fat Shirley. I fuck with Redman for the whole theme and vibe of this album because there's a lot of comedy on the album, a lot of just bullshit, a lot of him just kind of showing his personality. Redman's always been a real kind of hilarious artist, been in a lot of movies, just known to be funny as fuck. Smoke a lot of weed, talk shit, say what's on his mind, crack jokes. So that's the whole theme of this album. There's a lot of skits, a lot of bullshit, just a lot of vibes, a lot of funny shit. It keeps everything moving in a nice good transition. So the next one's called La La La. One of the first records I heard off the album. One with him and Meth. And if you know anything about these two, this is obviously a weed smokers record. So one of my favorites, definitely one of the stick out jams for me. I would say that's definitely a favorite off the album, that record with Meth. And then another favorite for me is right beside it. This one is called Don't You Miss. Really one of the stick out records from the album, kind of one of the theme records of the album, if you will. Talking all about different shit from the 90s. Don't you miss Ed Lover and Dre? Don't you miss when hip hop was real? Don't you miss when an MC would rock the show and everybody would applaud because he had skill? He said, I'm from the 9-0, meaning I give you what you pay for. '90s got Carl Kanai on the garment. Just a whole lot of references, a whole lot of classic hip hop shit. Whole lot of what they would say golden era type references. And me personally, like, even though I was born mid 90s, the 90s is still my favorite era of hip hop to this day. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Pac and Big. You know what I'm saying? Big up Warren G, the G-Funk era. Shout out to all the Boom Pap. You know what I'm saying? Big L era, the DITC era. All of the big albums, early Snoop albums. Classic Red and Meth, classic Wu-Tang, classic Fugees. You know what I'm saying? The Roots shit. Common, Erykah Badu shit. You know what I'm saying? Just like a lot of shit that really made the eras that we got now. So yeah, Don't You Miss, another real standout record from the album. Just really paying homage to that 90s golden era of hip hop. And then there's a next one is called Ignorant. And this record is actually sampling something that Wu-Tang sampled, that the RZA sampled, and I need to figure out what sample this is. One of my hip-hop heads is going to know it instantly as soon as they hear it. So if you hear Redman Ignorant, write in the comments and let me know what RZA sample that is, because I know it comes from another Wu-Tang track. But this record is exactly what it sounds like. Redman talking this shit, just flexing, going crazy, wilding out. Some shit you play when you want to get hyped up, We got another skit on the album. And then this record is just straight up called A. Now, I like this record. This is one of the first records I heard on the album where I thought, okay, I might not like this. This kind of feels boring to me. Just the beat at first, I just wasn't feeling it. And then as soon as he starts spitting, this shit take it to a different level. And also on this record, you can tell Redman has kind of figured out one of the new modern formulas of hip hop hooks, which is just having a real repetitive word, a one word hook that everybody could catch on to real fast. And then he's putting his own shit around it. So this song is just really called A. And he just say A over and over and over through all the hooks. But I could see this shit working hella well at a festival or a concert. You at a club, anywhere where you got a crowd and people are playing this shit, it's just something easy, something to catch on to. The next one is another standout record from the project, Hood Star, featuring Faith Evans and Kid Capri. It's dope as fuck to hear Kid Capri on a record just, doing this thing, shouting out. He was like the DJ Khaled before DJ Khaled. If you want to look at it in a certain way, and I ain't even trying to show disrespect, but like for people who might not know Kid Capri today, like DJ Khaled took what Kid Capri was doing and just put that shit to a whole different level, you know what I'm saying? But it's because we had Kid Capri doing his thing. DJ Clue, DJ Drama, like these are the guys that really made shit happen for there to be a Khaled or for there to be anybody like that in today's generation. It's dope to see Faith Evans too on the record. Like, again, just back to that 90s era. This is a real gem. If you look at people from the 90s, like this is a whole lot of them collabing on one record in the 2025 or into 2024 if you want to be technical type of space. So it's just dope to see that. The next one is Don't Want to See Me Rich. Now, this is the actual first one I heard off the project. I think this might have dropped as a single before the whole project dropped. This shit's real motivating. You know, something you play when you wake up, when you want to move around. Again, it's got that cookout feel, that real hype, just up-tempo, classic hip-hop feel. Redman, of course, not moving short with the bars, giving you what you need, nothing but the fire. I mean, constant references. Constant dope-ass cadences. You know, he still sounds current. Another thing with Redman too, he still has a lot of dope energy. Like you can tell in his voice that he's starting to age. You can definitely tell he's not as young as when he first started, but his energy is like damn near the exact same. He still has the same hype, the same ad-libs. He's still bringing that same type of delivery. He still really gives a fuck about what he's doing, you know? Next, we got I'm On That Bullshit. This record feels low-key Southside inspired. It's a little slower. It almost seems like something you might see Eminem on. I'm surprised not to see an M feature on this. I would like to see a M and Red feature, another M and Red feature. I think they have a feature in classic times, but it's been a while. Seeing M on this type of remix, he would murk this shit. You got another skit called The Trunk, a jam called Pop the Trunk. This is another one that's kind of West Coast vibes. You know, the album started with this sort of Zapp and Roger influence vibe. This one is more G-Funk, Cali, just real LA type beats on this one. But Redman sounds natural. He sounds confident on this, sounds calm, right at home. And then we get Ghetto Motivation with Orange Juice Jones. This is some hella Southside inspired shit. Like if that other one is, you know, something for M, this one is almost like some damn Texas, like Maxo Cream. I almost forgot my nigga name for a second, but like Maxo Cream inspired shit or something. If I could see Maxo and Redman on a record together, that would be crazy. And if I'm honest, this is probably the record that Redman seems the most unsure on. I don't know, this flow just seems a little bit repetitive. Doesn't seem as comfortable with the double time vibes. Next, we got Dynamite featuring Sheek Louch. Another one of my favorites. It's crazy because Redman and Sheek Louch actually have like a little bit of a similarity in voice. Like they have a kind of similar tone in the way they deliver their flow, but Sheek has a little bit of a more modern tone, I would actually say, with his cadences and with his pockets. But they do have a similarity in their styles. And I feel like Red has always been close to a lot of the groups, you know, a lot of the titans from the East Coast, whether it be Wu-Tang, the Lox, you know, a lot of them type of people. So it's dope to see him just including so many of the 90s titans on this album. And Sheek was talking a lot of mad shit on this flow too. Like Sheek went crazy on this song. We get on the wave, and if I'm honest, this is where the album seems to take a little bit of a dip. You know what I'm saying? Every album seems to have that part of the project where you have a couple throwaway records, a couple records just to kind of fill the project out. get it to a certain length you might want it to be at. And not even that those records are bad records, but there's just, if you ask an artist about every project, there's probably like two or three I can't talk today. 2 or 3 songs on the album that they may have left off if they had a chance, or if they wanted to, if they had to make the album a little shorter. You know, you can cut 2 or 3 records. And this is one, if I was in that position for this album, I would have cut this one. It's cool, it's a calm record, but it's not one of the standout ones. And then we get a hilarious ass skit called My Weed Has Been Taken, referencing the Taken movie. That's all I'm gonna say. Definitely go check out the skits on this album because Redman's funny as fuck. And then Kush featuring Snoop Dogg. Redman being the smoker that he is, it's dope as fuck to see him get a jam with Snoop on this project. Feels right at home, makes a lot of sense. You know, being a fan of both of them, being a smoker myself, I did the obvious thing and packed the bowl. Had me a little bit of tree as soon as I heard this shit. The next one is a hella hip hop record, Booyaka Shot. Again, just paying homage to that 90s era. Like, this is, you gotta go play this record for yourself. If you love hip hop, make sure you listen to this record. Redman just doing a lot of storytelling, letting people know how he came up. The next one is called Goofy, featuring Key Turner. I've not heard of Key Turner before this project. Y'all let me know what you know about Key Turner. Dope female artist that Redman's featuring on here. She's a dope ass rapper. I think she might be an R&B vocalist as well. And then we get into Obama Stick Up and 1 o'clock. Obama Stick Up being a skit with Ari Spears. No, Affion Crockett. Yo, why do I always credit the wrong person? Every time I see one of their names, I get them mixed up and I say the other one's name. That shit is crazy. So 1 o'clock is one of those records that's kind of getting back into the high energy arc of the album. This one honestly feels like a rejected Def Jam Fight for New York record. If this shit came out back in 2002 or 3, this could have been a fire song on that soundtrack. I would have loved to whoop ass with Redman's character in the Def Jam games of this song. And then we get Lighted Up, which is a cold ass posse cut hip hop record representing for Jersey. There's so many people on this record. Let me see. Redman, Naughty by Nature, Queen Latifah, Rod Digger, Shaq is on this record, Lords of the Underground. I was so surprised to see Shaq on a posse cut. I really want to know if Shaq wrote his verse. Really curious about that. I would say I doubt it, but I don't really want to hate on Shaq like that because Shaq has had songs with some of the most legendary people in the game. Like, he's got a song with Biggie. Shaq got records with Nas, Mobb Deep. He's on this Redman jam. It's crazy. Like, Shaq has been out there doing dubstep DJ sets. Like, Shaq is everywhere. He's almost as famous as Snoop. So, I don't know. It's just dope as fuck to see him on a record like that. Like a crazy ass hip hop traditional record, and you see Shaq right in the middle of it. Not what I expected. All right, then you get this record. What they talking about? Again, this kind of feels like you're getting to the point in the album where we start to recycle vibes. This reminds me a lot of one of the first records we heard in the project. Let me see. Jersey. What they talking about really sounds like Jersey Part 2. I'm just going back now and looking at Jersey, and it really seems like what they talking about is almost a continuation of that. And then we get a record called Why You Mad. Couple more features on that record. And then there's Superman Lover, the skit, and Superman Lover Continued. So there's basically this trilogy right here of Redman going on some crazy ass sexcapades. We'll put it that way. Dope as fuck though still. I like the first one more than the second one. Y'all can tell me which one y'all like better, Part 1 or Part 2. Part 1 is just more of a Cali vibe though. And then we get Look at Here with KRS-One. Redman featuring KRS-One. Fucking crazy. I had no idea I was gonna see KRS rapping in 2025. And the shit sounds current. He sounds healthy. The shit sounds dope as fuck. He's still relevant. You know, he's making sense. The bars don't sound like they belong in 1982. You know, it sounds how it should. You know, this is what I would expect from hip hop legends. And of course, the last record, Smoke With Me, kind of a tribute to all the fans, appreciation to everybody who listened. Just shout out a whole lot of places. And Georgia actually got a shout out. You don't hear too many songs in today's age say, yo, Georgia. You may hear, yo, big up Atlanta, but he actually said, Georgia smoking with me. I'm like, goddamn, not the whole state. You don't see that every day. So, you know, big up MacTown, big up Washington County. You know, my guys in Augusta, you know, all my different people, the different small towns in Georgia. Everybody in East Point, you already know I'm with you. Everybody in Atlanta get hella shout outs all the time, so I ain't even got to go through that whole shit. But zones 1 to 6, you know, it's love anyway. So yeah, if you haven't heard Muddy Waters 2, I definitely also recommend this album. Definitely run this shit up. Add this to your playlist. Definitely smoke to this. And real quick, before I get out of here, I'm gonna give a quick overview on the Slim Shady project, The Death of Slim Shady, because that shit was legendary. That's another project that really deserves high praise. It came out, you know, in the early part of last year, or maybe at the halfway point last year, but it's still been getting a lot of talk because M is just one of those artists. You know, he's probably one of the most major hip hop artists in the space. He's been that way for a couple decades now, and he's gonna stay that way for a couple more years. I don't know how much longer that's gonna remain, but he really is one of the greatest of all time, like in the top 5 of all time rappers. Like, I don't know where y'all put Eminem. I'm curious, you know, put in the comment section, where is M for y'all? Like, who is M as far as the best rappers of all time? Because technically, if we want to go just off of a technical skill, I definitely got to put M like in that top 5 conversation, just if we going off skill. So this album had a lot of anticipation. A lot of people were waiting on it, curious about it. And the name alone also drew in a lot of attention because everybody want to know, why the fuck are you killing Slim Shady? So the album starts sort of with Shady talking to M. It's M and Shady going back and forth, and he's using AI to do it. So he's got the Shady voice in AI kind of trying to talk M into doing certain shit, kidnapping M at certain points, and then the album just kind of kicks off with M talking a lot of crazy shit, teetering between deciding if he wants to be politically correct or if he doesn't want to be. So the whole first like chunk of the album, he's pretty much just letting everybody have it. Like he says retard a lot of times, talking about midgets, saying I shouldn't say the F word. You always say the F word. You know, there's a song where he starts off and he's like, fuck blind people. And just as a blind person, personally, I laughed. I fucking died when I heard that shit. Like, it was almost like I was in on a joke. Like, I don't know if you ever seen, you know, you've been with a friend of yours and they say some shit and you just feel understood. You feel recognized. You know, I didn't feel offended. It was more like M. I almost wondered if M had a blind friend that he showed that to. It made me be like, yo, like M knows that people can take a joke. He knows that people aren't so sensitive not to want to be included in the album. So I thought that shit was fire. And I'm curious how other people that he took shots at would feel about it too. Because I know he might have taken heavier jabs at different people on different parts of the album. You know, it was real light with blind people. He didn't say too much at all. So there's also that. And I don't want to speak insensitively, but I think M as an entertainer is always trying to entertain and trying to push it just as far as he can to get a laugh. But I don't think his goal is to actually like fuck up somebody's day and just offend somebody. Unless you are the type of person that gets offended over shit that a troll would say. Because if you're somebody that's easy to troll, a troll is gonna fuck with you. And I think M does purposefully target those type of people. So, you know, I can't say he's innocent or nothing like that by a long shot. Anyways, the album overall, you know, it's telling a story. It's telling the story of M fighting Slim Shady. M kind of coming to terms with the fact that Slim Shady was created by him sort of on purpose because he didn't at first want to take the blame for a lot of the shit that Shady was saying. So he would be like, oh, Shady just said that because I was feeling crazy. Or Shady would say that because he's wild or he's insane, he's uncontrollable, but that's not me. M is a different person. And so eventually, a good way through the album, he comes to the understanding that Shady is just sort of an extension of himself, and he's using Shady as an excuse in a way, as an expression of art, as a vehicle, as a lot of things. But at the end of the day, it's also something that was enabling him to do things and say things that weren't healthy for him. He was doing a lot of drugs in the Slim Shady persona. He was staying away from his family. He was getting deep into his music, but to the point where he was neglecting his kids. And he would sometimes, it seemed through the album that would be like Shady leading that more than Marshall, and he would kind of use that to extend a reason as to why he was able to do that. So it gets to a point where he ends up like fighting Shady and wanting to kill Shady. So he does, he kills Shady off eventually, and it's just Marshall kind of taking accountability for himself and just saying like, yo, this is my decision to actually stay here for my kids and to try to be a better adult, to be a better person, and to be an example. So the last song on the album, I've kind of taken a real short expedition, whatever the fuck that word is, trip through this album, but I'm gonna highlight some of the features too. The last song though is one with Jelly Roll, Somebody Save Me, where he's basically saying, yo, I need to come to terms with this. I need to figure shit out. I need to take a different direction. And so that's kind of saying this is what would have happened if I didn't pay attention, if I didn't take accountability. There's a point where basically he passes away, and he's saying that's what would have happened in the album if he didn't stop ODing, if he didn't stop letting drugs control what he was going through and what he was dealing with, that he might not have been there for Haley, or he might not have been able to go to her guitar recitals and to her weddings and things like that. So there's a couple of songs in an alternate reality sort of depicting if he actually would have died and didn't get the chance to turn shit around. So definitely go play the album. I'm pretty sure you heard the album by now, but if you haven't, and I'm letting you know about the album, then I'm glad to inform you of such dope material. Just make sure you go and tune in, because this might be a little bit of a spoiler. I want to keep a lot of shit for yourself, for you to go and find out. Crazy features, a lot of shit from D12. I was really happy to see D12 make an appearance on the album. Also, big up to the guy Jid, man. JID representing for Atlanta in a crazy way, going stupid on the record Fuel. Fuel is definitely one of the standout records from that project. That's one of the ones that's been in my playlist, one of the ones I've been going back to over and over. So if you haven't heard Fuel, if you haven't heard the project in general, go ahead and give that a spin. You know what I'm saying? Put that in your rotation. What are you doing? It's one of the most talked about projects of last year. Up there with the Kendrick and Drake shit, honestly. Like, this album had as much coverage as Kendrick and Drake to me. So Death of Slim Shady, high praise. Muddy Waters 2, definitely high praise. That's the one I'm going to be spinning back a lot right now. Also, I'm still playing the We Don't Trust You project, part 1 and 2. And there's a new project Future just put out like a couple of months ago that Metro and Southside did the whole production on. So make sure you go spin that shit too. That shit's crazy. What else has been in my rotation? I got a lot of random shit in my rotation. I've been on some jazz vibes recently, man. Some fucking Art Tatum, Oscar Peterson, a lot of instrumental classic jazz. So if you really want to know what I'm listening to outside of hip hop, it's them guys. And I could probably spotlight some other shit. Also, before I get out of here, if you haven't heard, GTA 6 is scheduled to come out this fucking year. I hope it's not like the fucking the Last Friday movie that Ice Cube and them guys been promising us for 30 years now, because they said that shit was supposed to come out a whole long time ago. But they say GTA 6 is supposed to come out, and for my blind people, they say it's supposed to be accessible. I'm hearing rumors that there's supposed to be some type of accessibility support, so that's gonna be fire. I'm hoping that's not all just cap and bullshit. The rumor of release is around fall, September times. So we'll see. I'm hoping that that's true. I'm really excited to play it. I really haven't even had a lot of time with GTA 5, to be honest. I've seen a lot of GTA 5 playthrough on YouTube. I've seen plenty of other games. I've always played GTA 4 and all the other ones, but as far as 5, I still want to play 5. I want to do all the different storylines there. I'm curious what type of storyline they're gonna give us for 6. Are they gonna have multiple characters again? Is it gonna be finally somewhere in the South? Like, people have been saying GTA should do GTA Atlanta, a real GTA in Miami. Like, we got Vice City, that was fire, but Vice City is kind of like a mixture of New York and some other shit. Like, even Liberty City, you have like just this New York vibe. Vice City is a little bit more Miami, but there's still East Coast type shit. It's weird. Also, I was just watching this GTA San Andreas shit, and you're a game aficionado when you see a video that's called like top 5 unknown facts about GTA San Andreas, and damn near all of them already. Like, they were talking about the fact that Young Melee and Franklin, Sean Fontino are cousins. CJ and Franklin are cousins in real life, or the fact that I can't even remember now. I be smoking too much weed, bro. I be too high. But I knew like half the facts in the video. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But yeah, GTA 6 supposed to come out this year. I'm hyped for that. I'm also doing a whole lot of gaming streams. If you haven't caught the streams, we be playing a lot of games over here. Big up my guys at Tech Cake. You know what I'm saying? Working with Tech Cake all the time on Execution is Rage. So I stream that a lot and show that off. That's a fully audio first-person shooter game where you get on and you can shoot at different types of targets. You got people on there you can fight against, different players, different people that are online, and then different enemies. So that's the newest shooter I've been a part of, doing a lot of sound design and testing on there. Did we just lose power or some shit? I don't know if we still broadcasting. I'm finna just go like we still broadcasting. But yeah, if you haven't caught the YouTube streams, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tune in. We be over here playing Execution is Rage, Alter Eon. Might be playing some Halo soon. We trying to get a lot of shit popping, keep a lot of shit moving. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and catching this one. I'm finna make sure everything is cool at the crib, because shit is low-key a little too quiet over here. So I'm just finna make sure shit's good. I'm gonna see y'all soon, man. Be safe.